Jesus.
He's not here right now.
Yeah.
Or is he?
Oh, no.
Is he those flashing lights above bloody America?
Maybe.
Or is it the angels or the demons or God knows what else?
I reserve my opinion on that one. I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
Were you following like the press conferences and shit? I know a guy he's used to be a rep to do with contact lenses and stuff, so I had a bit to do with him, and then he's moved into sort of medical devices, and so he just popped in and say g'day on his way past from Christchurch down to, I guess, Dunedin or Timaru or whatever, and we sort of talked about optometry industry, then we got on to energy and what type of car you'd buy, and then we're like, oh, I don't bloody know, and then he's like, oh, and you should have a look at this stuff, and then he was just going on, they're having press conferences about aliens in the States, so something's going on. I don't know what's going on, but something's going on. What do you think is going on? I'm like, for one, I don't have enough time to dive into this rabbit hole, but two, I definitely don't know what's going on.
100%. Are you talking about the press conferences just gone?
Yeah, sort of. I guess it was around November, December.
Yeah, not like the some sort of government, the ones just before, all the drones and things.
Yeah. And then they've ramped up since they've started to talk about them. So, smoke and mirrors.
I just know that when the government comes out and says, we don't know what they are, but we know that they're not ours, and we know that they're not our adversaries, but we don't know where they've come from or what they are, then I'm like, well, that's really skeptical, because if you don't know what they are, then you can't say that they're from the enemy.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you actually saying? and then I go, like, well, why are you even saying this? And then, like, you say, oh, we don't have the ability to track these things or follow them or fucking anything else. And it's like, well, you just got up here and told us that you know nothing. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Your
good mate, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he just reckons that they're an artifact of the imaging. So maybe the Samsung Galaxy S20 and the iPhone 15, whatever, are just that good at taking videos that they end up with these red lights in them. And so when you record videos at nighttime, you end up with these red lights that are moving around. Maybe that's it. Maybe Neil's right.
He might be right. He hasn't been right about much lately, though.
You know that just came to me, and I think it's being in your presence, Andy, just to like think a little bit deeper. What have you heard? What could explain this?
Yeah, well, when you hear there was a policeman that came out on the television and said he watched 50 of these things come out of the water.
Cool. Out of the water.
You don't often hear that.
Was it a lake or was it the ocean?
No, the ocean.
The ocean. Sweet.
Yeah.
They're mermaids.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll find out eventually, I figure, but right now, I don't really know. I can't say. I want to see some.
Why is it always in America?
Yeah, why is it?
Is it always
It's not actually, because Eamon sees them all the time.
Cool. When are you Eamon on?
Yeah, he sees them all the time. He's like a beacon to it. He's got a bunch of them on film. Stuff that I can't explain. Stuff that he can't explain. Footage that I'm like, boy, get fucked. What is that? Yeah.
It's the drones that he uses to film the TV show. And he's like, look at these.
It's way crazier than that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like I've spoken to his mum and dad, and his mum and dad have got wild stories.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, because sometimes there seems to be these people that they just see them. Other people don't see them.
No.
They just see them, and they've got the ability to film them and get close to them. And I don't know. It's weird. I'm not that person.
No, I saw just after Starlink went up that bead of stars going across the sky and shat myself.
Yeah,
And then thankfully it was like, no, that's Starlink. I was like, oh, that's good.
yeah, yeah. I've seen Starlink as well and been like, holy fuck. That's what that is. Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty good at seeing satellites. And I've seen plenty of shooting stars and like one night in Topol there we had like a real good like when you're like, jeebus, wonder how close that is.
yeah, I've seen two, maybe three things that I can't explain. That like unexplainable. Both of the two good times were with other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of those times was with like, I don't know, 12 or more people. We all saw the same thing.
And what was that like?
That was more like um, lights between trees, but like on the like a, a, a gully or a valley or a gorge. Actually, we
Mm-hmm.
were in a gorge, and we were on one side, and we were looking towards the other side, and it was dark. It was well dark, but you know, on those clear nights, you can see the ridge line,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can see the trees on the ridge line, and you can see like where you can see through those trees and into the sky behind. Like
Yeah.
you can easily tell what that is. But these lights were like down, halfway down, and they were like in and out of trees and moving and changing color. And there were like 8 or 9 of them, like little balls of light that were moving through the trees that were below the level of the top of the trees and the gorge on the other side. And we were in yelling distance, and we had lasers and torches, and we were screaming to the other side, going, "If anyone's over there, fucking let us know!" Rah, rah, like, and we were like shine, and so it was moving, and we were all like there going, "What the fuck is that?" Like,
Yeah.
so silent and yeah, changing color and multiple ones, like, yeah, bizarre.
That's unreal. Clearly, when I'm out on expeditions, one, I need to go on more, and two, I need to get out of the tent or out of the shelter and just have a nosy around and steer and gaze.
Yeah, it's weirded us out for sure.
Yeah. I don't know who was saying it, but there's Aboriginal stories around the sort of big lights in the sky. Eh?
Oh yeah, and there's
think-
like other Aboriginal stories of these lights called the Min
yeah,
Min lights as well. That would like come down and they would come in front of cars or they would follow like Aboriginal crew or like that's what we called these lights. We were like, oh, they'd be Min lights, but it's like um, the more that I kind of like go down a pathway of this ball lightning stuff and plasma and stuff, it's like, oh, it might be like some sort of gaseous energy plasma ball lightning thing. But yeah, plenty of stories in Aboriginal mythology and stuff like that.
yeah. I wonder if Māori histology mythology has any things you don't hear about it. But then a lot of that's lost because they've been integrated into European society.
Yeah, same here. But they won't tell people.
Yeah, we got crazy, mate. That sounds like rubbish. That's what all you'll get, eh?
No. Like they like they don't necessarily trust their kids because their kids are like alcoholics.
Mm.
And so a lot of the plant medicine stuff and a lot of like the lineage of stories where they're like, well, if I tell my kids these things, then that's going to get manipulated or used in a way that's like isn't the way that the lineage has passed it on.
Mm-hmm.
So the elders a lot of the time will hold on to information and not let it out, and then they die.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So
Mhm.
it's like I don't know. It's a pretty deep problem. Yeah. Or they just don't trust white man, or they don't trust, so they just don't tell people.
Yeah. And then it's like writing it down. Yeah, there's a lot with that, eh? Once I come back with writing it down. So
No, Sam, yeah.
Yeah, it's an oral tradition that really needs to be, like you say, when it comes to plant medicine, really needs to be shown, guided, passed on. And so if it's co-opted, well, then you don't want to do it. So that'll just disappear. I wonder, like, if modern society is capable of rediscovering those things. Like,
Oh, definitely, I reckon we are.
be ballsy though. Like, there's a lot of trial and error that goes into that. You'd have to get into a state to really be connected with nature to know what's right.
Yeah, it's like, who was the first person to put the ayahuasca, the bark and the leaves together in a thing and boil it down, and then, who was that first person to do that?
Yeah, I know.
Like, and that goes back thousands of years. So it's like that's a spin out of itself. It's like two different fucking plants.
Yeah.
Like, one of them, it's like it's pretty much poison if you fucking don't do it right. Like, yeah. So interesting.
It's like cassava, right? Don't you have to soak it and get out arsenic or something pretty potent?
Something like that. Wow.
Then we go get bloody cassava powder, cassava chips. Speaking of co-opted,
No,
turn it into snack food.
Yeah.
It's gluten free.
Well, they've got all these carver drinks everywhere as well now that it's like, fucking hell, you get caught with that fucking 10 years ago. It wasn't a good thing. And now they're all like, oh, it's fine. It's in everything.
Yeah. Well, it was fine in New Zealand. All the Fijian boys, they had it.
Yeah, we had a big jar of it fucking when I was there. Like, I don't know, a few years ago now. Just fucking powdered. Yeah.
Nice, Andy. You've been on this show plenty. I think my wife's overtaken you as the most interviewed.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, how the fuck did we get to know you? And it was like Fifth Element Wellness in Melbourne. Then Kent went there, and so then I was like, okay. Someone sort of brought up Kent to me though. I can't remember who it was. Yeah. And then via Kent, then I got in touch with you, and then finally, after about 6 years of knowing each other, we ran into each other in Melbourne. We wouldn't have run into each other now, Andy. Like that wasn't too much later. You really went down a disaster.
Yeah, it was just after I saw you, pretty much.
Maybe it was my fault. Maybe I gave you a New Zealand virus.
No, it definitely wasn't that. But yeah. Yeah.
How did it get started? Were you working on a big jet boat thing and thought, oh, that hurts, or what was going
on? Before I went to NZ, yeah, I was like, there's something going on with my foot.
Okay, so that far back, yeah.
Yeah, like, and well, even before that, I was like, my toes were going numb after work, after a long day of work. I would get this, like, when your eye ticks, when
yep.
So I'd get that in my leg, in my calf, at nighttime. As soon as I would lay horizontal, my calf would just start ticking, and I was like, oh, that's real weird. Like, maybe I just need some electrolytes or whatever. But that was coinciding also with my toes going weird at work. And I also had that back operation a little while ago. So I was going and getting physio and chiro and trying to get all straight and fix all of these little problems that I had, just niggling little things. And my chiro was like, bro, you're straight. You're really good. I don't know what's going on with this thing in your muscle. I don't know what's going on with your toes. Everything for me feels like you're good and strong and normal. And my physio was like, I don't know what's going on. And the chiro was like, go to the podiatrist and see if there's plantar fascia issues. And I was like, it doesn't really feel like that. And anyway, something happened. I put on a set of boots at work, gum boots, wellies, to wash some shit down out the back of work, and got bitten by a spider. And then didn't really recognize that it was bad. It just was this niggling thing. Went to New Zealand, did my job in Dunedin, and the whole time I was there, I was all like, "Oh, my feet are a bit fucked. This thing's a bit fucked. I'll figure it out when I get home."
Mm.
Came home, went to the doctor. Doctor was like, "Oh, you've got gout." I was like, "There's no way I've got gout. Like, I'm fit and healthy. I'm not even in the demographic of that. I don't drink. Like, um, nah." And so he put me on gout medication.
Yeah.
Sent me away for a series of blood tests. The blood tests come back and they were like, "You don't have gout." And he was like, "Well, I'm going to put you on a preventative gout medication just to make sure." And I was like,
Oh,
"Okay, whatever." But my toes and everything had then like swollen and like gotten real weird.
yeah.
And, so I got put on anti-inflammatories and preventative gout medication, a painkiller, and I'm like, "No, no, my foot's like the edge of my foot here is super infected, and I need antibiotics for this infection that's happening." And he's like, "Oh, we'll go and get you an X-ray," and I was like, "Fuck, like I don't need this shit." Like, so then I kind of was like, "This is really serious. I'm feeling like it's not cool. I can hardly walk." And like by this stage, when I was going to sleep at night, my foot was just like cramping over when I would go to sleep. Like it would just tuck under, but it didn't feel like a cramp. It just would lock in place. So there was all these real weird things going on. And then I was like, I need a second opinion. I need to go and see somebody else. So went and saw a different doctor, paid a bunch of money for him. He sent me away for an ultrasound, two ultrasounds. I went and got one, which was the foot, and then the next day I was going in to get a full leg done. No, I ended up getting the full leg first. And then I came home from the ultrasound and I got a message from the doctor. And the doctor was like, "You need to come and see us." And I
Ugh,
was like,
those aren't
"That's
good
real."
messages.
Yeah, but usually for me, the doctor rings up and goes, "You got to come and see us." I go in there and he goes, "Oh, there's nothing going on." And I'm like, "Fuck, I've just spent all this money on going to see you and there's nothing happening, you know?" Like, so I was like, "Whatever, I've got another one ultrasound tomorrow. I'll just go and get both the results back at the same time."
Yeah.
And then he called again like an hour later. And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You need to come in." Like, so I went in and he was like, "You've got a blocked artery in your leg." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." Like,
Yeah. Too right.
all right, well, cool. What does that mean? You know, like, and he goes, "Oh, we're going to put you on blood thinners and blah, blah, blah." And like, I didn't really take any notice of it. I was kind of like, "Oh, it can't be that bad, you know?" Like, I've heard of people have blood clots. It's fine. Like, and I went home to get the medication from the chemist. And the chemist by this stage was like, I walked in and gave her a script and she looked at me and she's like, "Andy, what's going on? Like, in the past 4 weeks, you've come in here for this, for this, for this, for this, for this. And you've had 8 different fucking things for 8 different things. Like, and now you're on this massive anti-clotting medication that's like, I'm calling your doctor." And so she called the doctor, comes back, "Okay, cool. If anything," she's like, "Cool, yeah, you've got a clot. If anything changes, you need to go to hospital straight away." Um, and I was like, "What? No one's ever said this to me before." Like,
Yeah.
and she goes, "No, if we put you on this anti-clotting medication, um, and a blood thinner, and that moves the clot, it could end up in your heart or in your brain, and you might die or have a fucking stroke." And I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
But by this stage, my foot was like, I was in so much pain that I couldn't sleep horizontal. I had to sleep sitting up. So every night I was sleeping sitting up and taking ridiculous amount of painkillers for the pain. So another day went past, and I was like, I'm in so much pain. I actually really need to go to the hospital. And the chemist in the back of my head was like, if anything changes, go to hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to hospital. And when I got to hospital, they did another ultrasound. And they're like, you're fucked. You're not going anywhere. Like, you're staying with us until we figure this out.
So did they explain that, like, you can't go anywhere, we need to keep monitoring stuff, we need to be adaptable with you, and we need you here to change it straight away? Did they explain that very well, or it was just kind of like...
More like, you're not going anywhere because we really need to sort out what caused this thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, whatever. But I was also in a lot of pain.
Was that by yourself still at that stage?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So like, it turns out that I got a disease, and the disease is a thing called Burgess disease, and it corkscrew spirals your arteries.
Yeah.
Closes them while it does it, like pulls them inwards until they're nothing, like pulls them tight like a rubber band twisting kind of thing, like. And it's very, very, very similar to frostbite, where frostbite shuts down your extremities to save your internal organs.
Yeah.
So bit by bit, it closes down the fingers and then the arms, and then, until you fucking die. Like, so it's kind of like that, but over a really long period of time is how Burgess works. So I wasn't getting any blood flow really at all into my foot or into my toes. So it couldn't fix the spider bite. It couldn't fix the fucking swelling that was in my toes. There was an infection in my big toe that was fucking out of control. There was no, white blood cells getting down there. There's no blood getting there at all. And the only way that blood was getting there was when I was standing up.
Mm.
When I would lie down, blood wouldn't go there. So the pain level would go through the roof. So it was really, really, really serious. But it took them 17 days to figure out what was wrong. Like, to give me a verbal answer of like, it's Burgess disease took them 17 days of tests. Yeah.
Was there also danger that the out of control infections would create a blood disease? I don't know if the fact that the blood flow wasn't working would have mitigated that, but was that a concern too?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will spread, like, and because there's no blood getting there to save anything or for any of it to do its job, like that infection would just grow and grow and grow and like be out of control really quickly. And my toes were like changing color, and it wasn't good. Like, and they were also like, if this is what we think it is, we're chopping your foot off.
Yeah, how did that conversation go?
Yeah, just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah, straight to the point. Yeah.
Wonder, like, in retrospect, have you thought of, like, as you've gone through bargaining in your head, have you thought about like how they might have said that differently?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not proud of it, but like, I had a go at the head vascular surgeon.
Yeah.
From his bedside manner.
Mm-hmm.
He would just say that blatantly, and in hindsight, I'm like, oh, I'm really glad he did, even though it's hard to hear every day. We're going to chop your foot off, bro. Like, that's the reality that I needed to accept, and I couldn't accept it at first.
Mm.
And I couldn't accept it until like we tried all of these other fucking Hail Mary things, because I was like, well, you're not chopping my foot off until we try this other shit. And if there's more shit that needs to be tried, we need to try that. Like,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
there's no fucking way you're chopping my fucking foot off until we've done these other things. Like, and you're coming at me with darkness every day, bro. Like, give me a window that I can aim at that is the savior, that's not this, we're chopping your foot off. And he was like, no, you will have a better way of life once we amputate your foot. And I was like, that's not a happy ending, bro.
No.
Fuck you. And I was really like, fuck you, bro. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And then a few days went past and I was like, they tried these different things. And then I was like, oh, I need to wrap my head around the fact that like I'm really going to lose my foot. Like, then once I did that, I was like, oh, he was actually like, just straight up, no bullshit. This is what's happening. It's going to be the best. And now I'm not in pain like that and I can sleep and fucking, operate. And I couldn't have gone on in my life with that pain. Like, there's no fucking way. It was out of control, bro. Like,
yeah, those photos that you put up of you in pain, one who was taking those and just like looking at them, can you even, like, once you get removed from pain, it's hard to go back to like how sore that was. Can you like put yourself back there and how much it was affecting you and how much it was consuming you?
yeah. Okay, I can. Well, I recorded a lot of it. I took all those photos myself, but I
Yeah.
recorded a lot of it. Like, I recorded a lot of video of me in pain, like real, like up close and personal, so that I could, in the coming time, when I look back or I'm in a state of regret or I'm in a state of whatever, to look back and see how much pain I was actually fucking in. To be like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, it's quite bizarre.
So that's a catharsis, right there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Like,
and like so bad that like no amount of painkillers before the operation like they wouldn't even cut the sides. Like, I was on the maximum legal dose of the tablets, of everything tablets. So there's protocol in hospital of what they can give you. And so they wanted me to go home for 3 days before they amputated. They're like, or go home and sort your life out because you're not going to have a foot, But like, you're on the maximum legal tablet level of oxys and fucking everything. Like, and we can't give you anything intravenous. That's the next step. That's where your pain level is actually at the level of getting intravenous. But we're not going to give you that because if we give you that, we can't then send you home to just look after your life for a couple of days. You can take tablets with you, but you can't take IV with you. Like, so yeah, then when I came back into hospital, they just put me straight on IV. Like,
and when they like dosing you like to the second of time frame as well.
no, that was like I had a thing that's known as a pain crisis incident. So after the anesthetic wore off, my pain level just skyrocketed. And
this is after the surgery.
After the surgery, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I woke up and I was on intravenous ketamine, intravenous oxy, and intravenous fentanyl in one arm. And then on the other side, I had a thing called a bolus, which is a nerve agent that's like on a pump that goes next to the nerve inside my stump. Like, and then everything is bandaged up around that. And I was on tablets. And so when the anesthetic wore off, none of that, the ketamine or the fentanyl or the oxy, was like even working, it felt like. And my pain level just went through the roof. And they're constantly asking you, how is it out of 10? What's your thing? Blah, blah, blah. Do you need more? And then you get more, but then there's protocol. So like, the protocol got to the point where the nurses can give you a certain amount, and then the head floor nurse can give you a certain amount. And then there's like a person above that who's allowed to give you, because it's all controlled substance, is allowed to give you sign off on the maximum dose. And then there's a pain management team that then has more authority to give you more stuff. But you've got to go through all of these protocols before they can fucking give you the maximum amount. So I got to the point where I was on the maximum of the fentanyl, the oxy, and the ketamine. They'd cranked that to full high, and the pain level was still going through the roof. So then they call in a pain management team. So then it's this thing called a pain crisis incident. And they said to me, it's like when the hospital needs to call an ambulance, like, and then this crew come in and they've got their protocol of what they're allowed to do. So now I had 11 people around me with computers and their little fucking setup, nurses and doctors, the vascular team, the pain management team, the head of the floor. I'm screaming my head off in a fucking room, waking up the entire fucking floor of the hospital in more pain than I've ever been in. And they're like, what's your pain level? Rah, rah, rah. And it's just like, and I'm screaming at them, knock me out, knock me out. And like, because like I don't pass out from pain, apparently.
Mm.
And then a dude just comes in and he's like, hey, I'm Dr. Dan from fucking the pain management team. He put in another pick line on my right-hand side and he's like, right, we're just going to give you the maximum legal amount of fentanyl right now. Bang. And then he just got his stopwatch. And then when it got to the like 3-minute or 4-minute mark or whatever, then he's like, how's your pain? And I'm like, still the same. And he's like, bang. And so he just did that for 45 minutes straight. Like,
Did they restrain you?
no. There was a.
You're full of lines, but still.
It was such a fucking wild journey, bro. Rogan says it quite a bit. He says the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. So,
yeah.
But there's levels to everybody's pain threshold.
Mm.
Like you've been punched by a 3-year-old kid versus getting punched by Mike Tyson. If that's your maximum pain threshold, it is what it is. Like, so then I'm like, hey, I've broken 38 bones, bruised my fucking brain, smashed my skull, had grey matter coming out of my head. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. I've amputated 2 fingers already. I know what pain is, and it's out of control. So like, this is what's going on. And one of the vascular nurses, the vascular doctor, she was this fucking smoke show, like 6 foot tall, fucking decent looking, an absolute smoke show, hot as fuck, like business skirts with a fucking zip the whole way down the back, like doesn't look like it, just amazing, huge gold fucking rings and like diamonds and everything, and she's holding onto my hand, putting a fucking a wet cloth over my head. She's the fucking one that's chopped my fucking leg off. Yeah? and she's like, squeeze my hand, Andy, squeeze my hand. It's going to be okay. And I'm like, if I fucking squeeze, like I was holding her hand and I'm like looking her in the eye and I'm like, if I fucking squeeze your hand, I'll fucking crush every bone in your fucking body. Like, and she was like, it's okay. And I'm like, fuck. So, yeah, that was like, that was a massive, massive, massive thing. The most insane period of, 24 hours in my life. Like, then they got the meds were all on full. The pain came down. I passed out, went to sleep for a bit, woke up the next day, had a bit to eat, saw some friends, went back to sleep, and then while I was asleep, I like pulled all of the IVs out of my left arm.
Oh, gosh.
I pulled the IV out of my right arm. I pulled the bolus off my leg and out of my fucking stump. I pulled my catheter out, and then I had them in my hands, and I woke up to the nurse. I was sitting on the edge of my bed with half a fucking leg, holding these fucking cords from everything. And the nurse came over and she was like, Andy, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to the toilet. Like, get out of my way. And like, I was so high, I had no idea where I was or what I was doing. And she was like, where are you? where are you, Andy? What are you doing? And I like look around, and that's when I kind of like woke up.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck! Like, I looked down, and I was just like, oh fuck! And she just said, it's okay. Like, just lie down. Like, you're all right. Like, and yeah, so I did. I was like, in my brain, I was like, this is where I really wig out,
Mm.
or I just go back to sleep. And so I just was like, I'm going back to sleep, and they can do whatever they fucking do, like that was like, I think day 30 or something that I was in there, but 2 days after the operation.
Jesus. How do you you documented the journey afterwards? Like, how, I don't. It was watching you go up and down and sort of come right and find things to do, and friends come along and take you places and move you forward. Like, was you would have been through all the spectrum of emotions, right? Angry, down in the dumps, worried and anxious about what you're going to do into the future. Like, how did, like, being taken to the beach or just being taken to the park or even out into your backyard, how did that sort of take it away? And then when it came to the evenings, like, what was that like?
Um,
Especially those evenings where you couldn't sleep, man. That was like, how do you?
it's a fucking nightmare, bro. It's the worst thing ever. It's like, so the time in hospital, I had to compartmentalize all of my thought processes, and like I was verbally like telling my mate Maggie, I was like, I can't even think about this right now. I've just got to put it in a place and put it in the back of my brain and just get through today and then tomorrow, and we'll do the next test, and we'll find out then the next day what that test yielded. So I can't think that I'm going to get my leg amputated. That's got to be somewhere in the back of my brain. Otherwise, I'll fucking lose it. Like, so I was just squashing stuff down and pushing it into parts of my brain where I just was like, fuck, I can't even think about that. I've just got to be present with the people that are around me and have like good conversations and just like, well, what are we going to do? Like, where are we going? What are we doing? Like, and so then after I did get home from rehab and was here with family, staying around the corner or up the road and friends and stuff, I was by myself quite a lot. But then everything went sideways once I just decided that I was just going to go cold turkey on everything. I was
What was the advice around that? Just stay on, just stay on it until you feel better, right?
They just like they send me home with like 18 different drugs, and they'll just like take all of these and I got to the point that I was like, I've been on Oxy for 2.5 months. I don't want to take any of this shit anymore. I just want to take my vitamin D, my zinc, my fucking, my normal fucking cocktail of nutrients and supplements.
Healthy drugs.
Yeah, healthy drugs. And I don't want to be addicted to fucking painkillers anymore because I was losing my memory. I was literally losing my memory. I couldn't remember conversations with people. I couldn't remember people who came to my house. I couldn't remember. I like, they would say, you said this, and I'd be like, no, got no idea. I've got no idea. Like, and I was like, this is no way to live. Like, I remember things. I'm good at remembering things. Like, so I just need to like separate. And my brother was out from England, and I was like, this is the perfect time to do it. Is with a family member. And I'm just going to go to hell and back. And I did. It was like, but I'd also like, I'd had to get to the point because I had phantom limb pain really, really badly. That I was in pain in a place where I didn't want to use the drugs because I wasn't in like physical pain, but my stump didn't hurt. Like I'd come around the surgery style pain had gone. And so I was like, right, now's the perfect time to like do this. I had good support, but then like you realize once you stop those things, it's the compartmentalizing of these fucking things just comes straight to the forefront of your whole being. Of like, I let them chop my leg off. You know, how did I get to the point where I just let them chop my fucking leg off? And then you get angry, and then you get upset, and then like, you know, like all these different feelings and emotions you have to process. And it's also, I've got like I've withdrawn from smoking cigarettes. So a nicotine addiction, a 30-year pot addiction, so like my coping mechanisms are non-existent. And then you're withdrawing from opiates, and you're withdrawing from benzodiazepines, and you're withdrawing from fucking the nerve agents and all of the fucking other things, like all at the same time. And then you go to your doctor, and your doctor's like, what have you taken this week? Like, what can we like adjust? And I'm just like, I fucking stopped taking everything. Like, I just stopped. And they're like, fucking hell, you idiot. What did you do that for? And I was like, well, I've done it now. But it was like, it was pure hell for 5 to 7 days, like of no sleep. And then, then you got to relearn how to sleep as well. So then it was like, well, I had probably a week there of no sleep on top of the week of withdrawal. So then I got to the point of like, well, sleep's the most important thing for healing. And if I'm not sleeping, I'm not healing. My mental health was going downhill at such a rate of knots because I wasn't sleeping that I was like, the littlest thing would just set me off. I would say the stupidest shit. I wasn't thinking. I was just in this fucking land of like, and so then it was like, well, what can I sort of have a balance of? What's the most important thing? Is the most important thing not to be taking painkillers, or is the most important thing to be getting sleep and recovery? And sleep and recovery is the most important. So it was like, okay, I can take one of these things and bring that on board and be like happy that I'm utilizing one thing and not 15. And be okay with that and just have that little compromise. And now it's like everything's really good. I've gotten good sleep again. It's, I'm not taking fucking super high dose of any of those things. It's pretty good. Like, so.
What's the phantom limb like? Is it in your head, or is it in the like where the foot was, or like is it crawl all over you? Like,
it's so bizarre, bro. It's the most bizarre thing of the whole journey, really.
Yeah.
It is in your head.
Oh yeah. So, well, it's in your nervous system, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, different studies show different things. You can't use oxys or fucking anything of that nature or opiates for the pain, because it's not a real pain. It's a neuropathic pain.
What about like the gabapentins and the amitriptylines and things?
No,
do they work?
And the pregabalins no, they didn't work for me. No. Yeah. And I tried them all. And I tried like all of them in different dose ratios, all the way up to the maximum legal dose. And talking to my doctor through it, of being like, hey, I'm sick of fucking gabapentin. Let's try pregabalin and fuck blah, blah, blah. And then, it's huge to try and wrap your head around, But like, I think it's pretty manageable now, that pain. I think mostly because when I get tired, that pain is a lot worse. So if I'm sleeping well and being good and healthy and everything, it's not so bad. But yeah, it's fun.
Neurologically, do they know what creates the inhibition?
Well, different studies say different things.
But yeah, like you say, the sleep is the biggest healer, and when you slept, your nervous system has more capacity. And so I wonder where from your brain you get the inhibition and the reinforcement that, hey, we're not actually getting a message from there anymore. I wonder where that comes in.
Well, this is a really bizarre thing between people who have had acute, fast, short pain and diabetics who have had long-lasting numbness of the foot. So the diabetics don't seem to get the phantom limb pain because their nervous system has
Recognized
sent
it.
a signal and it's gone, oh, there's nothing there. It's not a pain response. Okay, cool. That's the end of the foot is gone. So I'm just going to stop sending and receiving or only pick up what's above the ankle, say. But people like me who've had fast, acute, really chronic fucking pain, the last thing that my body remembers is sending and receiving a signal, and that signal was a pain response.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting that when it would get to 5 o'clock in the afternoon before the operation, my pain would go through the roof just before dark. And then after the operation for the phantom limb pain, just before dark, that's when the phantom limb pain would ramp as well. So for me, it was almost like, oh, my body is like remembered this pattern. And then I went and saw a physio masseuse who was recommended to me, who's a Paralympic massage therapist and physio. And he was just doing deep tissue stuff up and down the back of my leg and in the back of my knee. And the phantom pain went from the pain being in my foot to my foot being at the bottom of the stump, if that makes sense. So like now I feel my toes where the bottom of my stump is. So it's moved a whole foot, so to speak. And for me, I feel like my brain is sending and receiving a signal down there, and it's trying to find where its new home is. And the more that I because I still feel like sometimes still feel like I've got a foot. Forget you hop in bed and you want to move the sheets with your foot, and I go, oh, I don't have one anymore, or I still have this like little thing, and it hasn't really clicked over. Really, it kind of has, but it hasn't. Of going, oh, the end of my stump is the end of my leg now, and that's what I'm operating with. And what does that feel like? And like, how do I use it? And this is what we're working with. My brain is still coming to that point of like, this is it now, forever. Some part of me still goes, oh, there's, I feel like there's a foot there. So the more that I come to terms with the fact that the stump is all that I'm working with, the less the phantom limb pain occurs.
Do you know about the homunculus of your body in the sensory and motor cortex?
What do you mean?
So the neural representation in the neural and motor cortex down the sides of your brain, like where your body is represented, in like foot, nose, and hands are all like overrepresented. So it's this like distorted body. Sure. When you see this like thing, the homunculus as representation. Have you come across anything where they've tried to elevate neuroplasticity to try and restructure the homunculus? Like, it'd be a big job because the foot takes up so much representation in the brain. One of the things they explored with amblyopia, so when a child's visual cortex doesn't develop one eye over the other, so one eye is overrepresented, what they tried to do is see if Ritalin would boost neuroplasticity so that when the patient did the exercises to stimulate their eye that doesn't see so well, they'd get it because you're trying to sort of integrate two pathways to sort of stack on top of each other and be meshed, whereas one eye is taken over from the other. So I wonder if there's any studies out there about neuroplasticity and limb amputation, whether that can speed up recovery of phantom limb or anything like that.
Well, I mean, I know how to reprogram the brain,
Yeah.
use that neuroplasticity, but I'm not in the position at the moment to be able to actually like have the time, space, and energy in my brain to like take large amounts of psychedelics to do that. But there are tests as we speak of people who are like doing psilocybin research into phantom limb pain and trying to use large doses of psychedelics to reprogram those pathways.
I wonder even like the lion's mane and the
Probably, yeah.
what's the one that grows on ants? Cordyceps.
Yeah, cordyceps. Yeah. Yeah, I've had a few conversations with people around those things, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, like
because it's just that it's that like close your eyes, touch your nose, fucking that style of thing. It's like close your eyes and like where's the end of your stump? It's
ramped up to 1,000.
Yeah, ramped up to 1,000, and I still don't really know. I don't know. Especially when it's under the blankets and stuff like that, where you really like. It's quite strange because you're not looking at it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, like the US military with how long now? 30 years of psycho unnecessary wars and all the people blown up and the repercussions of that. They've collected a lot of data on gruesome things, and so I wonder if like I spoke to Michael Lewis about concussion and blast concussions and PTSD and the the simple development of supplementing the military with fish oil, treating concussions and blast sufferers with fish oil, and then ramping that up to CBD, and then going further to THC and psilocybin and MDMA. Like that's what we're getting out of that disastrous situation. But it'd be fascinating what's been written, what's been published, or what's still within the annals of the military medical professionals. So
yeah, exactly.
And the problem that, as it's called, the DMV or whatever it is, once they get medically discharged, sometimes the care is not wonderful.
No, not at all.
Or tracked or whatever, because they, it's a big place, the States, and if they go back to their home city and that's remote, which tends to be where the military come from, remote places, then
not much going on.
Yeah, and what's the protocol that someone receives and how's it tracked? So the information gets lost, and unfortunately, so too do a lot of the people, as you said, the mental health plummeted, and that's without having the fighting PTSD, but there's definitely a lot of PTSD with all this sort of stuff. How does it's been a short time still, but how oh, you go. Yeah.
One of the things here that I noticed is like they're good at chopping you up and pulling you apart, and they're not that great at putting you back together. So like
this is the hospital side, or this is moving forward in the
rehabilitation center in the hospital, as part of the hospital. And saying like, hey, I would like, can you give us, because my guts are fucked and your food is fucked and all these drugs that you're giving me are fucked, like, how about we get an NAD drip, we get a magnesium drip, we get fucking all of these things going on. Can we order that in so that I can have that at the hospital to rebuild me? And my friends like brought me every supplement under the sun. And when I was in the rehab, they tried to take that from me so that they could be like, oh, well, we need to find out if the mechanism of action of anything that you're taking is going to interfere with any of the drugs that we're giving you. And I'm like, it's fucking vitamins. And they're like, yeah, but we're giving you vitamin D. And I'm like, you're giving me 1,000 and I've been taking 5,000 a day for the past fucking, 4 years or more. Like, and then I'm using this and this and this and this and this, and this is the protocol that I'm on, and these are the other things, that liver tablets that people have brought me, and blah blah blah. And they're like, oh yeah, but, and I'm like, no, like, so it's any of these things that actually will help rehabilitate your internal fucking being. It's a nothing, and the sugars and fucking grains and everything in the food, and it was just all like, holy crap, like you're really great at pulling people apart, but you're shocking at putting them back together. Like everything was wrong about it, you know?
They would have been monitoring your blood pressure while you were there, eh?
But yeah, all the time.
Was that going pretty high?
No, it was pretty good.
Pretty good still, yeah.
I mean, everything was pretty good. Like, it's amazing to be a fit human.
Yeah.
When you go into something like that, and like, you know, they told me 6 to 8 weeks that I would be in rehabilitation.
Yeah.
I was out in 2, you know.
Yeah.
And then they tell you, oh, you won't walk for this many weeks, and you do. And then, like, the feedback that you get from the physios and the people that are doing your testing before they let you home, it's like, oh, you can do that? The look on their face is surprised when they ask you to, you know, do physical tests. Transfer from the wheelchair into a seat, transfer into the shower, transfer into a car, do this, pick that up off the ground, fucking, can you lift this? Can you balance on one leg? Can you balance with your eyes closed? Can you, you know, and you just perform flawlessly because you're a fit human.
Yeah, like, mate, I was a professional one-legged stander.
Yeah.
The ground was moving while I was doing that.
100%. And they're shocked, you know, because they're dealing with people that are 150 kilos with 5 comorbidities, and they've never done exercise in their life, and they've lost a leg from diabetes, and, you know, so it's, and then when you do put in the time and the effort and you train at home and then you come back to do physio at the rehabilitation centre, they're like, they want to give you more and more and more, like visits. They want to see you more because you're doing what they've said and more. So really, like, happy to just throw stuff at you and help you out, which is great. So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, eh? Like, what's their protocol for when their inverted commas finished with you? What's their success look like?
They're nearly finished with me now. Like, the test, she brought me that BOSU ball, the half exercise ball, balance ball thing.
Yeah.
She brought me that, like, when I say she, I mean Helen, my physio at the Royal Talbot. She's been an amputee physio there for 26 years. Amazing human. She was kind of like, she's been the driving force with getting me on my feet. And kind of one of these people that's like, you know, she'll bring the balance ball in and she'll be like, she'll just drop it in the corner. And you'll do your little things over your 45 minutes, and then she'll be like, oh, maybe we can try that. Oh, I thought maybe you're not ready for it, you know, like, and she knows that I'm very competitive or whatever. And as soon as she says that, then I'm like, righto, bring it over, fuck. And then, like, you know, bring it over turns into like, oh, if you're going to do that, you may as well give me some balls to juggle.
Yeah, that was good.
Like, what? And so, oh, okay, I'll get him. She goes and gets him, and then I balance and I juggle the balls. And then, like, basically she's like, there's nothing more that we can do now. Like, this is far beyond. She's like, the normal people that have got legs that work in this building, I
can't do this.
Can't do that, you know? So, like, well, take it, the leg's yours, go and put your weight into it, jump around in it, you know, fall over in it, do things in it, and then come back to us after Christmas, after New Year's, down the track, you know. So, and then went in there for my first little thing, my first one back after the New Year's the other day, and, you know, she'd gone out and bought a skateboard with her own money from a second-hand shop. Tiny little fucking thing, like, yeah, but, like, you know, I don't. It feels nice that she just goes and does those little things and just, you know, so it's, yeah, it feels super good. And when she brought that in at the first, I was like, there's no way I'm going on that. And then, you know, by the end of your session, you're like, fuck it, give it the old, do it. Like, and you do it and you walk out of there and you pat yourself on the back and you're like, fucking oath, you know, like.
Then you're looking at that rail down the steps, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I can pop that."
Yeah, not at all. No, I'm more like I've been going by myself, and like for the whole time I was in hospital, and for the whole time that I was in rehab, and then at home, like I've had the best support squad ever. And when I did, take those first few steps on on the first prosthetic, like my mum was there, like, and that was amazing. But since then, I've like really kicked some serious goals, so to speak, and I just kind of wish that, there's one or two of those, or three of those people that were there the whole way through the journey that were actually like with me with these other little milestones inside of physio.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's been one of those things where I'm kind of like, I've been a bit disappointed of late that there's one person in particular that I haven't been able to share that with, and I'm just really like, oh fuck, I can't wait till that actually happens where I can share that with that person, and
Yeah.
give them a hug standing up, and yeah, so.
No, pretty powerful. So, what was it like getting back to the beach, and then you went into the mountains? But was that a crutch that you went up there, or walking sticks that you went up there?
Yeah, walking sticks and crutches for the beach, and all those things are really emotionally draining, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Like the it's such a fucking massive accomplishment, like to just be able to fucking go swimming at the beach, like, and people see me with the prosthetic, and they're just kind of like, oh, it must be back to normal because Andy can walk again. But you don't necessarily realize like the real intricacies of what it takes to fucking hop into the water at the beach. Just that one thing.
Had you been to the pool or no?
Yeah, I went to the pool.
Okay. Yeah.
And I swam in a river up underneath the high country as well, which was same thing, a fucking massive mission. The river one came first. I had to like go through the corner of this guy's paddock. So on my crutches, across a road, down a fucking steep embankment to a electric fence that has like a few steps that go over the fence, because he knows that a bunch of people come to this swimming hole and like rather than fucking up his fence, he built a little 3-step over it and 3-step
We call
down.
it a style. Do you call it a style?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was on crutches and I didn't have a leg.
Yeah.
So there's no way that I could fucking go over this tiny little thing. So I had to like commando roll on the ground underneath like 3 barbed wire fences. Yeah, proper.
Yeah.
And then hoon through the paddock for half a K on crutches, and then down into a rocky fucking, it's all real dangerous stuff when you've only got half a leg and you're on crutches. Like, and then, yeah, the beach, like through the sand dunes on crutches, and tide was way out. So it was like 100 meters of fucking crawling, like literally crawling to get into the water. And it's kind of like, that's not elegant and it doesn't feel nice. But once I'm in the water, it's like fucking oath. So I've had a big cry after a lot of those things, because it's like a few months ago, I was really in a pit of depression. I didn't know if I could walk again. I didn't know if I could shoot my bow, go to the bush, do any of these things. I didn't know what the future looked like. It just, yeah.
How did the decision start shooting your bow at home?
Well, I had to. Like, I didn't. It was going to be another 6 to 8 weeks or more before they even said we can fit you for a prosthetic. And so it's like, what am I going to do? Stuck in my house in a wheelchair, at the fucking beck and call of my friends to take me to the shops, to go shopping, to even go and get a coffee, to fucking do anything. I couldn't do anything without calling and asking for help. Like, so the only thing that I could do for weeks and weeks was either go into a deep hole of depression or be like, I need an exercise routine. I need to shoot my bow. I need to fucking get as fit as I possibly can for when I get my leg. And that just gave me this drive. It was like a lockdown again. It was like fucking, you know, proper, couldn't go anywhere, bro. So I had a chin-up bar. I knew I could fucking do sit-ups and push-ups. I needed to do my physio exercises, and I've got that little 20-meter indoor little range in my house. So I was like, if I can incorporate all that stuff, that's like a 45-minute to an hour workout. And I can put 50 arrows through. And I was just lucky, actually, that a month before the operation, I'd detuned my bow by 15 pounds from, 75 down to 60, or maybe even 57 or something. So, but yeah, like I wasted away to nothing in hospital. 6 weeks in hospital, thereabouts. And also all of my muscle was gone. So yeah, I just started one day of like, righto, I'll just do push-ups and sit-ups and chin-ups and all my physio and shoot 10 arrows today. And then it got to the point where I was doing, 100 push-ups, 50 chin-ups, 50 sit-ups, all of my physio, my stretches, shooting 50 arrows. My mate ended up bringing me around a set of dip bars. So I got to the point where I was like doing, 50 dips. So I just do a set little routine of like 10 arrows at a time, 10 of this, 10 of this, 10 of this, 10 of this, and just rinse, repeat 3 or 4 times. And you just build muscle straight away. So I think that if I didn't do that, I'd be in a really different place now mentally. So just a lot of those videos were like more of a trying to keep myself accountable.
Yeah.
And like trying to voice maybe to myself of where I'm at as a historical point of view. And also to be like, tell people that were in my friendship group where I'm at, what's going on, and have something to show for my family and friends of like, I'm not going to fucking take this sitting down. Like, fuck this, and just be a bit real about what was going on in the mental headspace as well. Because it was like, you just hear these pretty fucking stories of,
the end result, the person at the Paralympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were fucking very instrumental people inside of it that like I couldn't have gotten through it without some of these people. Like one person in particular, I still haven't met face to face. Like
whereabouts in the country are they?
He's based out of Sydney. His name's Dr. Pran Yoganatha.
Oh yeah, Pran.
Yeah, one of Eamon's mates, best mate, and we'd sort of had an internet bro down.
Yeah.
Over the few months, maybe a couple of months before this, and I'd sort of asked him a few questions about my feet and about things, and he knew I wasn't in a very good place. And the weird thing was that he'd written down a few things of what he thought I had before I went into hospital.
Yeah.
And that coincided with what I had. But also, like, he just unconditionally fucking gave, like in that moment of crisis, he was there on the end of the phone. He was there for me to send massive audio recordings to, and he would send me audio recordings when he had a second. He financially backed me as well. He backed me into a fucking corner of like, knowing that us blokes are shit at putting our hand up and asking for help, where it was like he just unconditionally gave and was like, you can't not take this, because if you refuse this help, you're giving the finger to the people that are trying to help you, and that's rude because they want to help. It's not about you, it's about them. You need to accept them giving Like, and if you stop that giving, you're actually being like a cunt, you know?
Yeah.
And also, he was like, at the very beginning, when I was like, hey, bro, I'm getting my leg amputated, he just came out and he was like, you're taking everybody with you on this journey, and this is your chosen path. Like, this is fucking, this is not for everybody. This is for you. And this is for you to fucking iron sharpens iron. And you're the type of person that will get everybody in your wings and take them on a journey. And like, I was like, fuck off, cunt. Like, it's my leg that's getting chopped off. You know?
Yeah.
But in hindsight, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I took everybody on a journey with me. Like, yeah. So,
Gosh, yeah.
and just like Jack, unbelievable. Jack just Eamon, unbelievable. Eamon from America at fucking Joe Rogan's comedy club in the back room with some of the most famous comics in the world, filming selfies and them sending me messages like full comedy fucking skits. Fucking Andy, sort your shit out. Fucking like. My friend Maggie, she just every day she was at hospital, like the most supportive person I've ever met in my life. I love her to death. Like, just the fucking single most amazing thing ever. Like, my mom, my brother, my fucking dad, like everybody just came together and just super supportive. Like, I'm sure I've missed a couple of people, but like, it's seriously, I don't think I'd be here without that. I think that like I would have ended up in a hole somewhere of like really, really, really severe depression and maybe not come out the other side of it, you know?
Yeah. I'd reiterate what Brian said about you are that type of person. It's that whole, cheesy mantra that's on walls and, in the fronts of books, isn't it? Like, life doesn't happen for you, it happens to you. It doesn't happen to you, it happens for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that, it's interesting that confidence, like say, he put you in the wall and said, like, this is on you. And I definitely understand they're like putting stuff up for accountability to be that person. I'm Andy. I'm the person that fucking thrives from this, and I'm going to show the world how. And that means, shit, I've got to get up today. I've committed to videoing myself shooting the arrows and doing my exercises, but I am that person, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And that is who you are, mate. And yeah, like.
And the other thing is that the fucking of all the communities of people that I'm in, and I'm in a fucking wide variety of communities, the hunting community has been the single most supportive mob of people ever. Like, they know my goal. They know my goal is to fucking drop a deer with my bow and arrow with a prosthetic on film and be like, fuck it. This is, if I can do that, then my life returns to normal to a degree, you know? If I can do that, I can fucking achieve anything.
Yeah.
But like, some of those crew have just gone above and beyond, and like, they've just seen what I've been going through. They don't say anything. I just go to the mailbox one day and I open the mailbox and there's fucking a pile of shit, you know? And with beautiful handwritten letters, and this mob has sent this and this mob has sent that, and these people have called and these crew have found out that this is what's going on. And like, it was fucking amazing to to see that come together. And yeah, it's just I'm blown away and blessed. And yeah, I'm so stoked that I've got the friendship crew that I do, and that the community that I associate with is so ready to open doors and to help me achieve my goal. Like, that it's just like, fuck yeah, boys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On the other side, did you fired up the hard drive, and what's been creativity looking like?
It's really been hard.
No doubt.
It's been very hard. When I was in hospital, I couldn't go on social media. I didn't watch YouTube. I didn't watch any news. I wasn't on Twitter. I wasn't on Instagram. I was just in hospital.
Mhm.
And that was very interesting to notice that, like, nothing else mattered. Even just opening up something on my iPad or on my phone was like, oh fuck, this is a nothing.
Mhm.
This makes no difference in my life whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, and then also coming home and trying to open up my computer and do artwork, it just felt so foreign.
Yeah.
It felt like I don't really want to be putting my energy into there at the moment. It's not where my energy needs to be. My energy needs to be focused on fixing myself.
Mhm.
So like a lot of my art comes from like either me being in love with something or me being angsty or pissed off at something.
Mhm.
So I wasn't either of those two things. So I kind of just it did take a while for me to like pick up digital pen and paper again, but I haven't really gotten in a flow with it at all. I've produced a few things. I've given away a couple of, well, one print in particular that was like, I just had to get this thing out of my head, and I made it, and I gave it away for a birthday present. And since then, I haven't really made anything else. I'm not necessarily in that headspace of doing that just yet. Yeah.
Have you been able to observe art or film or music or anything like that?
Yeah. But it just things aren't the same as what they were before. There's a different meaning to things. Like,
Mhm.
and I've also found that I've got an ability to write.
Yes.
So I've been writing a lot.
Cool.
I've been, writing to people that probably don't want to fucking hear it. No, just various different things, but like, I've enjoyed writing little blurbs on my Insta reels and things like that as well, because it's just like, oh, cool, I can get this out. It feels nice, and yeah, I've drawn a bit hands on pen to paper, real pen to paper, which feels nice. It's very tactile and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been fitness driven and goal driven of like, I want to return to life, and these are the things that I need to do to make myself feel like I can return to life, or I have returned to life, or like, go swimming in a river, go swimming at the beach, go to that mountain in the Blue Mountains, ride a push bike, walk in nature, shoot my bow, um, ride a skateboard, all of these things. The next thing will be going using my surfboard. So all these little things, I'm just trying to tick all these boxes before I go back to work of like, hey, I can live some sort of normality here. What feels good, what doesn't, and just trying to really put energy into me and like bunker down with it.
All right. Yeah. Well, what was it like going back to work?
I go back on Monday, so 2 days away. I go back. Yeah,
And are you gonna start working?
yeah.
Hey, what would when you visited? Oh, how did that feel? That'd have been weird.
My boss's daughter is an amputee,
Right. Yeah.
and she has. I don't know how long ago she lost her leg, but she lost her leg above the knee. I lost mine below the knee. But when I told him that I was getting my leg amputated, he was just like on the blower straight away. You know that I know this very well. It was what he was saying to me, and he was saying, "We love you. We spent fucking $1 million training you and sending you overseas, and you know everybody in this factory loves you, and we want you to come back to work. Just take the time, come back when you're ready, get fit, and we'll figure something out." So that's a blessing, all of its very own. he was also very instrumental in letting me know that it is an option for me to keep my leg and have it cremated so that I can do something with it as a little like saying goodbye ceremony. His daughter didn't get that chance and they just fucking threw it in the bin and probably just put it in the auto club or whatever they do and fucking incinerator and burnt it. But then also when I go back to work, it's really nice to just sort of walk around the factory and have the fellas be like, fucking hurry up. Like, you know, what are you doing? Like, they got someone else in to take your job and we don't like them. So, like, hurry up. And then also, you know, the boss just been very, like, much whatever you need. If we need to change anything in the workshop, we can change it. If you want to work half the day out of a wheelchair, if you need to walk around with crutches, if you can't work, if you can only do a few hours a day until you build up stamina and strength for work tasks, he's just like, whatever, bro, just fucking slowly, and just come back to us. So, what a fucking blessing, you know, like to have that in the back of my mind going through this entire thing is like, I would hate to have known that I was lost my job and, you know, I don't know what I can do. Or imagine going and try and find new work and with a prosthetic and, you know, all these different things. It's so now I'll have structure back. I'll have people to talk to during the day. I'll have my little things. It'll be, you know, like routine. So yeah, looking forward to it.
That's unreal. Yeah. Like again, that's a 4-year thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 How did you end up with the wheelchair situation in the end? And you were saying there was a shortage of them or something, right?
They not necessarily a shortage of them, but like they give you a wheelchair for a month, the hospital, and then you've got to hire a wheelchair after that until the government gives you funding. And then once the government's given you National Disability Insurance Scheme funding, then you can buy a wheelchair or have one custom built, or that might take 6 months. So at the moment, I'm just renting a wheelchair from some department.
Yeah.
And in talks to get the funding and stuff done I go in on Wednesday for all that funding meeting stuff. So we'll see.
Do you know what their process looks like very well, or?
Yeah, that process is like, it's like grant writing almost.
Yeah.
Where I have to prove to the government why I need certain things.
Fuck.
And that government department, the NDIS, they want to make sure that I'm back at work. They also want to make sure that I am happy and not in mental illness of any sort. It's because the more that I'm mentally unstable and not working, the larger the load on the government is.
Sure.
So they will sponsor me to do the things that will keep me happy.
Mm-hmm.
So because I can prove that I was a skateboarder for 40 years, then I can say, hey, I need a leg that will be specifically made for me to go skateboarding. I need a leg that will specifically be for saltwater. I need a leg, or I need a wheelchair for XYZ thing. I need a running leg. I need a bush leg. I need a cleaner in my house for 2 hours a week. I need 1 hour every 2 weeks of mental health stuff. I need a massage therapist. I need an exercise physiologist. I need all of these different things, and they need to be accounted for. And each one of those individual things needs to have a little mini grant of why I need them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go through and they go, oh, we'll fund this or we'll fund that, but we won't do this, or, you know, so that's how it works. So my physios and my, everybody that I've worked with over the last few months has done their own little proposal that goes into the main proposal of what I need funding for and why.
Yeah, I can semi understand that one. Yeah, we have to put our spiel when we do a concussion analysis, and it's not necessarily to get work, but it helps the person with being able to recover. So when you can support that, this person's still not in a great way. Then that allows them, takes the weight off their shoulders to focus on, like you were saying before, getting right. Like, I need me to be right, so then I can go back to being me.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Oh.
Heavy, man.
It's been a journey.
Yeah. Like, again, sick of talking about it yet?
No, not really. I haven't had many super long breakdowns with people of it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just, they don't know what to ask and they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
That
must have been huge on those first few, like when you're in hospital waiting, and then after it, when you're going through so much pain, to be there. And like, I've done the Clifton Strengths Finder, and my empathy's way the fuck out the rear end of things. But to even like the average person to try to put themselves in your place and just, I don't know, to be there physically, but to try to work out what to say or how to feel or how to act or how to hold yourself, like, do you like,
amazing.
Unreal, eh?
Yeah, watching people really fail.
and then
there's only really one person, Maggie, that was there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That really understands the entire journey from there until here.
Yeah.
Other people played roles in different sections, but they weren't there every single fucking day from before till after, from home to hospital to rehab to everything else. And also, you find out really quick who the people are in your squad who are up for the challenge, who don't know what to do, who remove themselves from the entire situation because they're so at a loss of what to do, so they just pull back altogether. Or the ones that take the reins, or the ones that just show up, all different varieties of and the people that you thought might be the people that will be there aren't the people that are there. Even if it's your very best mate. And I had to pull up my very best mate and be like, hey, bro, I understand that you don't know what the fuck to do and you're lost. And you come in here and you cry looking at me, and I don't need that, bro. I need you to come in here and make me laugh. I need you to come in here and take the piss out of me. Or I understand that you live an hour away, you've just had a baby. It's not for you to be sitting in here in my hospital bed every day. That's not your job. Somebody else will take that job. And you can't be upset at yourself for not being able to be here. It's okay. But I don't want to hold your hand through this. I want to look you in the eye and say, your job will come down the track. And now your job is not to worry and not to freak out and just be at home and call me every couple of days to see if I'm okay. But it's okay not to be okay, and give him a hug and tell him that it's fine. And then you see other people that they just take up that slack and they're there and they're, and some of the people I just didn't expect they would do it so well.
How did you heal the days when you're in such pain? You're for a comedic outlook on this, you like the water boy, completely amygdala oblongata. How did you re-heal those scenarios? Was it with laughter, or did it just the pot just blew over and the steam went everywhere, and then you just left with the flames being put out, and you kind of just go, right, let's clean up this mess? Was that the scenario? What was it like?
I held my shit together pretty well.
Yeah.
And Maggie would just come in every day and we would just piss ourselves laughing.
Yeah.
And Jack would come in and we would piss ourselves laughing. And so the people that were coming in were really fucking hilarious and good to hang out with. And the compartmentalizing kept me from fucking freaking out.
Yeah.
So I'm very stubborn and very headstrong. So I didn't really lose my shit until a couple of weeks after I got home, like home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I like it's a weird thing to fill your days. I just fill my days with like comparisons
Mm-hmm.
and having little contests with the people that were in my ward or in the rehabilitation facility or like in a similar situation to me where I would be like, I'm fucking out of here quicker than you can. Like, I'll be at home before you fucking know it. Like, or just little things like that where that just kept me going, like,
Yeah.
and it's very easy to be in a hospital or in a rehabilitation center where at 7 o'clock you get fed, at midday you get fed, at 6 o'clock you get fed, and then there's morning tea in between that and afternoon tea. And so like once you finish breakfast and you come back, you've got tests, you've got to take your drugs, you've got to go and do something, then you have lunch, then you've got more tests, then you have to take some drugs, and then you've got dinner. And so it's very easy to just not think about too much at all.
Mm.
And like, and then somebody would rock up and spend from 5 o'clock in the afternoon until 8:30 at night there until they get kicked out. So it's like once that happens, you're so full of drugs that you just pass out anyway. So yeah, it was really like when I came home and 4 or 5 weeks after I came home and things taper off, people's support tapers off. They know you're good, they know you're settled at home, and the family goes. And I live by myself in a little 1-bedroom, and that's when things got a bit like, oh fuck, like I don't have anything to compare to. There's no competition anymore. It's just me and myself and me and my brain. There's no coping mechanisms, fuck. That's when I went a bit fucking batshit. But that was also when I was like hell for leather training. So I'm glad I did that,
Yeah. Yeah. Why is laughter medicine, Andy? Like,
Oh, fuck.
what is it? It's taking you outside of yourself, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Well, that,
physical if you can laugh too. That's like they know that back to neurophysiology, they know the endorphins that have been released when you're laughing. But like, yeah, what's it like, bro?
well, that broke the pain loop for the fucking pain crisis incident in the hospital was laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because fucking I was caught in a loop,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't matter how much fentanyl they kept giving me. It wasn't enough for me to pass out. The pain, I wouldn't pass out from the pain, and all I could keep thinking was, "This is fucked. I'm in so much pain that like I want someone to knock me out, knock me out, knock me out." And then one of the surgeons who'd done the amputation came in, and he just stood at the end of my bed. And he goes, "Andy, what do you fucking think would happen? We sawed through your bones." And I was like, fuck, you told me that after the operation I wouldn't be in pain and I'd have a better way of life. And he goes, well, I thought you'd be fucking tougher than this. And I was like, fuck off. And he goes, I bought a bag of concrete if you want to harden the fuck up. And I was like, I got a bottle of water there, start mixing. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't believe my fucking surgeon is like telling me to harden the fuck up. Like, so I just cracked up. Like, I was like, fuck off, cunt. Like, and just sort of laughed. And he was like, yeah, we fucking did, bro. We sawed through your bones, bro. Like, and I was like, fuck. Like, yeah, you did, eh? Like, and everybody in the room cracked up.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, that's a different feeling,
Mm.
It just cut through this like whole pain scenario really quickly. Just took me out of where I was and put me in a like, oh, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really amazing to see that like it cut through everybody in, 11 people around me. It cut through all of them just like that. Like, and what we just sort of cracked up. And after that, it came good. Like, yeah.
I wonder, like, obviously, like you said, there's this team in the hospital, the pain crisis team, that come up with their computers and things, and it's having had a mother that works in reportable events and stuff like that. I wonder what the report of this pain crisis, because they would have had to write one. Because
Oh, they have to, when they have a crisis incident,
Yeah.
they need to write a report. Yeah.
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 I wonder what it reads like, and I wonder if it's like case study AR,
Yeah.
maximum pain dosage on the time, laughter broke the cycle. Like,
Yeah. Could still hold a coherent sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, see that in the journal. What was the hospital?
Yeah, that's right.
That was fucking me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Front of the laughter cures pain.
Oh, I wish it did. I know. Fuck, it does to a degree though. Fuck. Yeah.
Oh no. Good.
They say it's the fucking journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
It's the fucking destination, bro. It's like fuck going on that journey, eh?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's type 4. That's hell and back.
well, I rang after that pain crisis incident. Straight away, I was like, "Oh, my best mate."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Bro, you don't understand what." And he said like 3 words, and I was like, "Sorry, bro, you're not the right person for the job. Sorry to ring out. I gotta go. I love you. I'll fucking talk to you about it later." I just knew straight away that I'd called the wrong person. Like, and so then I called my old best mate who lives in Northern New South Wales, and he just held it. He just held all of me crying and all of the pain and all of the shit. And I told him the entire story from start to finish. And he was like, "Is there anything else? Is there anything else? Give it to me, bro. I'm here for it. I'll just let it go, Like, and I did, and then fucking, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I went through a few hours of the day, and a good mate of mine is a guy called Stuart Tripp, and he's an amputee and a Olympic hand cyclist. And I've been on the phone to him a few times since this whole thing started, and I called him, and he was in France, I think, at the Paralympics, or it was like a day before he was leaving to go to the Paralympics, and he goes, "Yeah, bro, what's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, I just had this thing called a pain crisis incident this morning." And he just goes, "Sucked in, bro." And I was like, "What?" Like, I was expecting sympathy. And I was still really like quite sad and emotionally shaken from this thing that I'd been through. And he was like, "Welcome to the below knee amputation club, bro. You're with us now. Suck it up." And I was like, no, bro. Like, you meant
Tell me it gets better.
yeah. And I just pissed myself laughing because I was like, "Oh, somebody else has been there. Somebody else understands, and he's through the other side of all of this shit, and he knows what I've just gone through." And realistically, it's not that much. Like, it is, but like, suck it up. Like, so it was a pretty funny day all around, really. Yeah. Wow.
That's one way of summarizing it. Oh, fuck Andy.
But he's been very real with me the whole way through, because he's, my physio did his rehabilitation 20 something years ago.
Yeah.
And he's achieved, I think, second in the world UCI hand cycling for like a few years running. He's one of Australia's top hand cyclists, one of the world's top hand cyclists. Amazing dude, no bullshit, just straight to the point. And every time I would ring him and talk to him about stuff, he would just be like, "You're bullshitting yourself, bro. Don't bullshit yourself. This is what is ahead. Bang, 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 bang. There's no compromise. This is what you're going to go through. So suck it up, cunt." Like, and it's been raw and real, and I really appreciate it. Like,
Yeah, it's quite interesting how I wonder where you did have the flip where it's like you were saying when you first heard the vascular surgeon being like, we're probably going to take your leg, and you're like, "So can you pad this out a bit?"
Yeah.
To being like, no, there are fewer choices now, and without the leg, there are fewer choices, but they become clearer. You know, there's only a couple of options now, and one of them is pity and not great, and takes you down a depression hole.
Yeah, very dark hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it'd be again one day when you're looking back on those videos you took of yourself, you'll be like, I wonder where I made that switch of I've narrowed my decisions here at the moment, and I'm going to take things on board in face value, and interesting, like you say, you start having a chat to somebody like that, and they can hold up a mirror that like, nah, this is how it's got to be if you want it to be great, or there's that
I'm
road.
not going to sugarcoat that stuff and say that I didn't get in a hole of depression,
Nah,
because I did, and it came and went. Like it still comes and goes. It's not a pit, but it's like a place of like really heavy shit,
yeah,
like the heaviest shit. Like, so like, yeah, it's not all fucking sunshine and roses, even though I'm smashed it, you know?
yeah,
Like from the outside, it looks like, I mean, from the inside as well, I've achieved greatness in a really short amount of time. And I didn't expect it to be this good and this quick. But at the same time, like the heaviest brain work that I've ever done.
mm,
And really being deep down in a fucking dark, dark, dark place, right on the edge of holding it together and not. Um, but somewhere in there, there's like always been a just keep moving forwards, and if you know that exercise creates endorphins and exercise helps the sleep pattern and sun and sitting outside and not getting on the computer first thing in the day, and human stuff and all of that, even in the pit of depression, if I can like understand that these things are real and it doesn't matter if I don't want to do them or not, just the act of doing them will pull yourself out the other side.
that's a big statement right there. Eh? The act of doing them will pull you out the other side, and it's like the plethora of things that you could do, but until you activate one of them, then you're still stuck there, and just commit. Fuck, it's a weird thing, isn't it? Like
You have to, no matter what.
you have to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal. So is it because it's so close? Is it quite on the shoulder that it's just over there to end up back down the hole?
Yeah, it is. It's yeah, 100% it is. And there's times where I'll just burst into tears.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll just be like, oh fuck, this is my life. This is my life, and I've got to get used to it, and I don't want to be here.
Mm.
Going out New Year's Eve or hanging out with mates over Christmas or walking to these places or trying to get into the ocean or trying to get into a stream somewhere or whatever it is. It's like I'll just get this overwhelming fucking darkness of like, holy fuck, here we are. This is impossible. This is the rest of my life that I've got to do this for. So it comes and goes.
Yeah, like I said, those things, as great as they are at the moment, quite exhausting. You said you had to relearn sleep, and you touched on it then, like sitting outside and stuff. Like when you haven't slept for 7 days, how do you then get half an hour of sleep? Because that's where it needs to start. Like at least get half an hour of sleep.
You have to force it. Like you have to force to close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that means crying yourself to sleep.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, Also, like inside of the withdrawal period, I know that it won't last forever.
Mm-hmm.
So
How did you sort of visualize that? Did you sort of think about like a detoxing as a like it's going through your liver and your kidneys, and it's going out of your run in your shit, and one day it's going to be those toxins are going to be gone. Like that's how I'd sort of think about it.
no, I just was more. I was more like the opiate style medication takes 3 to 4 days
Okay, yeah.
of sweating and no sleep.
You say sweating.
Sweating, yeah,
Yeah,
and no sleep. And then the benzos are like a 5 to 7 day thing, depending on how much benzos you've had in your body, like or how long you've been taking them for and stuff. So I just knew that I was like, it's going to be 5, 6, 7 days.
yeah.
And let's just if I can get through to tomorrow morning, then I can be awake. And like, because once you're awake, you're wasting 12 to 16 hours.
Yeah.
Like, and then you've only got to get 8, then there's only 8 hours that you've got to get through in the nighttime. So put a movie on, lay down, get comfortable. If you fucking fall asleep in front of it, you fall asleep in front of it. But as soon as you fucking start fighting with your brain of like, I can't believe I can't sleep, or fucking need to go to sleep, need to do this, that's when the darkness takes over. And you get anxious and you get anxiety and you get fucking like, you'll never get to sleep because then you work yourself up.
Yeah.
So like you've got to be really conscious about knowing that this is what's going to happen is and I think one of those things was like after my back operation, I had to get off the opiates that time.
Mm-hmm.
That time was like, I was like, okay, 3 to 4 days, I'll be fine. But also I was smoking lots of hash, so I was smoking heaps of joints. So it was easier for me to just stop being on the opiates because I would just smoke hash.
Mm.
So that time was just really hard because I didn't have anything. I couldn't smoke anything or, I just didn't have anything like that. So it was more challenging, but it was just like, just get through until tomorrow morning. Just get through until the sun comes up, you know?
Like there's some books or methods out there for stopping smoking that are like cold turkey straight away. So how long does nicotine take a hold of you? Like it's a couple of days too, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about nicotine.
And marijuana, like, does that have any sort of long
No, it's just
lingering?
it's habitual addiction. It's not a like physical addiction.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really challenging.
What was the benzo for?
Well, I just medicated myself with benzodiazepines because I fucking because I did because
Yeah.
I needed an off switch.
Yeah.
For the phantom limb pain, and so I just had a bunch of drugs around home that I'd had for ages, and I found a cocktail between the opiates and the fucking gabapentins and the pregabalins and the benzos to see which one would get me to sleep the quickest and outdo the phantom limb pain, and which one was the off switch. And I knew that the benzos were a good off switch for various other drugs. When people lose their minds at festivals or parties or whatnot, it's like a good bromazepam or something like that will just like switch off. So I've been using those to get to sleep as well. Yeah, so that's where that came from. Was just I'd illegally acquired those from somebody that I know over the time.
Yeah. And so how long had you been taking those? And then what did you say, eight or so days to get rid of them? What are they sort of lingering with? A dependence?
I've been for about a month, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a dependence on it to readjust your levels, is it?
Yeah. Just to knock me out because the phantom limb pain was so bad, and nothing else that I was taking was like stopping the phantom limb pain, and they can't give you anything for phantom limb pain. So I was like, I'll find something, and so I just Yeah. It's not very, I don't recommend people do that, but I did it and it worked. So,
And you have one. Yeah. like I said, that like days of 8 hours, and then you get to the morning and you've only got 12 to 16 hours to be awake again. What's that first ray of sun in your skin like? Does it give you much? Like especially when it's been 7 days without sleep, does that first ray of sun in the morning give you much, or is it
no,
pretty?
not at all. Like my brother was here and like he was staying up the road in an Airbnb, a, a K down the road, and he had the keys to here. So he would just come in the morning and find me bawling my eyes out on the couch in fetal position,
Yeah.
just uncontrollably, just mourning the loss of my leg, and like in full blown mourning of like cathartic crying. And he would come in and be like, "Come on, get up, I'll make you breakfast, I'll make you a coffee, get up." Like some days he would just leave me to cry and just let me go. And other days he would be like, "Come on, let's go sit outside." But yeah, I don't know what it would have done without him. And then you do go outside and you're like, "Oh, it is fucking nice in the sun." Or then he would be like, "Oh, I'm just hop in the car and we're going to go for a drive. It doesn't matter where we go. We'll just get out of this environment and be somewhere else." And, that stops phantom limb pain as well because you're concentrating on other things. And then that would kind of like exhaust me because we'd be out doing stuff for a day. And then so he was very proactive in not really saying too much or doing too much, but very much like just sort of pulling me out of these little moments. So, but yeah, sun and things like that, it just fucking changes everything.
And did you hold on to that sleep pressure? Like you stayed awake for that 12 to 16 hours, or would you find yourself like napping?
No, I didn't want to nap because I
Yeah.
was like, if I nap now, that's going to set up a pattern,
Yeah.
and I don't want that pattern to continue. I need a normal pattern.
Yeah.
The normality is what I need. So I refuse to, have a 3 o'clock afternoon lay down on the couch because I'm like, no, I need to go to bed at 8:30
Yeah.
or 9 o'clock. And then slowly but surely it just started working. Like, yeah.
How much of an option do you have to leave your bed and go like if you got a couch seat?
Yeah, I've got two, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And that just wouldn't
I
work
was
either.
doing, I was like going from my bed to the couch, putting on a podcast on the telly, and then sort of getting to the point where I'd nearly pass out, but I'd get up and go to bed. And by the time I got up and got in bed, I was like, when I'm wide awake again. And yeah, it was just fucking nightmare. Anybody who's had real bad insomnia knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And that like falling asleep part, did your body like catch you as well and like jolt you and be like, and then you're back awake again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, at that stage, I still had a bit of surgical pain.
Mm-hmm.
So moving around and doing things was quite still a little bit awkward and painful and stuff. But yeah, I would like catch myself nodding off or whatever, and then I'd be like, yeah, it's a weird thing because as soon as you do that, and your brain kicks over, and all of these compartmentalized thoughts that you thought you'd dealt with come to the fore, and then you like go through a poor me scenario, or like, well, you're in bed and you can't sleep, and then you're like, oh, I'm just going to get up and have a drink, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't have a leg, and you're all like, oh fuck, like, and then that just starts its own little mental fucking process as well of like, fuck, I don't have a leg. So
Yeah, it's unreal how we as a species work or don't work or run in spirals, and in neurology, like the nervous system just sort of throws things out the whack. Like, is that like a key focus, being aligned? Or, I don't know if that word means anything to you at this point in time.
I need balance in my life.
Balance, okay. Yeah.
That's what I call it. I just call it balance. You know, like
Yeah.
I go stir crazy if I'm in the city and I don't go to the bush. As soon as I go to the bush, I feel like I'm balanced. You know, like
Yeah.
just things like that where it's like you can't be inside for too long. You can't be on your computer for too long. You need to balance it with other things, and I can't get too caught up in attaching to things. Otherwise, that's not balanced as well. And yeah, I got quite caught up in being attached to this person that I was kind of using as a crutch more than, you know, they were giving me support. And just inside of all of that, it was like I didn't want to I wanted that support. I wanted that crutch. But the reality of it is like if you use somebody else as as your support mechanism, you're not building strength of your own to be your own support. So like you can fake it till you make it and feel like you're doing real good. But as soon as that gets taken away, then you're on your own again and you've got to rebuild all of those things. So like all of these little lessons of life of stuff just kept showing up and is still showing up of, you know, why I do things or why I attach to stuff or the way that I operate or what it is that I find is my support or what can I utilize for support outside of me. And, you know, like where is the balance between being stoic and not asking for support because you can do it yourself? Where is that the line of like, is that just stubbornness? Is that going to put you in a state of being alone? Is it okay to ask for help in X, Y, and Z thing? Just it's there's a myriad of these little things that turn into what balance really is, you know, like of how much you're giving yourself, how much you're letting yourself be supported, how much you're asking for help, how much you're pulling a poor me scenario, how much you're driving your own bus, how much you're crashing your bus, you know, but so many different things, bro.
I don't know if you saw the quote I put up today from June. It was about fear. Like going through all this, how do you feel about fear currently?
I'm still living in a bit of it.
Yeah.
Know that this is all just fucking sharpened me right up.
Yeah.
But like, I don't even know. It's a.
Do you call on the person that you were like pulling tricks and stuff like that? Like, do you call on that? Is that still who you are?
Well, fall off, get back up is the way that I sort of operate.
Yeah.
You can't learn skateboarding unless you fall over a million times. And then when you make that trick, it feels amazing. And then you can do it over and over and you might stack it a few more times. But it's like you might have to try that trick 300 times before you do it.
Yeah.
Like, so, and pain is associated with that all the time because if you're throwing yourself downstairs trying to land a trick, you're in pain all the time.
Yeah.
And then you learn to fall off, you learn how to fall. And then so falling gets easier. So like this is just all fall off, get back up. Like this is the biggest fall off that I've had. So there's only one way to go, and that's get back up, because otherwise you're going to stop doing all those things. So like that saying fall off, get back up becomes part of the thing that I say quite a lot. That reinforces in my whole body of like move forwards, fall off, get back up. That's what we do. That's how you progress. Like, so that, I suppose I do to a degree call on that person of, you know, and all of those things are, they just build the ability to be in pain, be on the ground, get back up, learn your thing, do it again, do it better, everything. So, yeah.
Powerful, mate. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Ask me anything.
Yeah, it's
I don't really know. You've started a new place and you've moved and you've fucking done a whole bunch of different things and it looks amazing. Everything looks good. You got an amazing woman and
Yeah,
great.
it's like yesterday was one of those, like, I was at work. It's the first week of or working week of January, and we've got a target on the board, and it's like we hit the like need target, and we're pretty close to the want target.
Yep.
And like we had half a day booked, and I knew I wanted to go to those deer sales in the afternoon, and I'd wanted to go to some the day before too, but we ended up with a patient in the afternoon. So, grateful for that, but it was like, bugger, I wanted to go out to that. And so then I like, Nicole was off to Hawke's Bay this weekend, and so I dropped her off at the airport and was driving back, and I was like, no, I'm going to block that afternoon. I was like, I've got confidence that we'll probably hit that target anyway, and I'm going to go do that because the place we went to yesterday is a place that I've like wanted to go to forever, and like I took that video driving down the driveway, and I also took a photo of it, and I've made that photo my screensaver because, like, when I journal and things, that's the picture I think of as that gravel driveway with the tree-lit avenue going in, and like that's what it was. I was like, fuck, this place is cool. And
So-
I think, yeah, said it on the video. Said like, if someone's asked me what would you do if you won lotto, made the kid out, it would have to be a bit, but yeah, I'd be trying to buy this place. They're like, it's cool, man. And then
Cool.
and then it started raining at the end of the sales. It was about 3:00, and I had my gear in the car, and I was like, there's another deer sales on afterwards, which are more like deer generics over here. They're real trophy style heads, so real monsters that any American hunter that might still be listening that sees the New Zealand red stag on their advertising. that's kind of where they come from.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah.
I know where.
Sorry?
I know where. They look like fucking, yeah. The heads are, some of those heads are amazing.
Yeah, even the one that I showed from Bill Virus yesterday, like, fuck, that's pretty impressive, and I'm sure there's plenty of their genetics out there on game estates in New Zealand too. But yeah, it was like, I've got a plan to go walking and investigate this place. I haven't been for a walk since March last year, where I actually shot a stag, but couldn't find it. It didn't hit it properly. I brisketed the bloody thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like one of those things where I'd walked the loop that I wanted to. I'd spooked the stag, and then I came around this corner, and I was on my way home along this old forestry track, and he's just standing on the edge of the track. And so I offhand shot him because he was only like 50 meters away, but I really should have just like lay down, put out my tripod, and got him properly.
Yeah.
Hindsight's wonderful.
That's
So yeah. Yeah. And it was just like, again, like one of those, like, what do you want to be doing? Like, you could go to these deer sales, but you want to go for a walk. And so I went for that walk, and up the hill, learned that, yeah, you need a tent around here because a tarp's not going to cut it when you got
yeah.
rain and wind and just tussock, no trees, no rocks. So yeah, it was just good. And then yeah, coming home and again realizing that I've got so much more time here is wonderful. So yeah, it's been good. I just before we started talking, released Nicole and I had a chat on Wednesday night about the first quarter of business and just sort of what we've realized so far. It's weird being the person in the room that has to come up with the answers.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, or just
Can't just walk away and be like, "Thanks for paying me my wage. I'll forget it's your problem now."
Yeah. No, it's like the business is going well, but like sometimes you're like, oh yeah, that's my problem. I've got to either be okay with that or do something about that. And then you find that you try to do something about it and nothing really changes. And you're like, oh, I guess I keep having to try and do something about that.
Well,
yeah. And just like time frames, like, yeah, you have like a list of 1,000 things that you would be great to get done. But then you like look at the day and you're like, well, what can I actually do today? And so like we've got a problem where we don't necessarily have the diary we want. And so it's like, well, how do we influence that? And it's just
yeah,
making a stupid reel, putting a story up on Instagram, talking to people about eyes, and in the exam, making sure that you're explaining everything, giving them a hell of an experience. So hopefully they go and tell somebody else. And
yeah,
come 3 years, hopefully we have a better diary each week. But this week you end up with a half diary, and so then you're like, well, I'll make the most of this opportunity and do something that I love, and
Absolutely.
get close to my dream, which is a deer farm, eh?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, exactly. That's great.
So, are you daring to dream again?
Well, I mean, just the goals of getting a deer on the ground.
Yeah.
That's I feel like once I've accomplished that, I can really fucking start like putting severely out of control goals on, down.
Yeah.
And so everything is working towards that. So all these little trips to the bush and to my favorite places is all like ramping up to do that. Because walking off trail on angles, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like once I know that I can achieve that, I feel like it's fucking hard getting a deer on the ground with your bow.
Yeah. Well, it's hard getting it with a rifle. As I said, I shot one and it bloody ran off.
Yeah. So like, setting that goal, like that's a massive fucking goal. Yeah. And then I can start setting other ones of being like, all right, what do I really want to do? And I set some stupid fucking goals in physio and at rehab and stuff. They make you set, write down your things. And I did that and it was pretty out of control, like what I wrote. And so I can start like moving towards maybe doing some of those things. And we'll see how we go.
Nah, cool. Yeah, it's a real buzzy situation, eh? Where you're like you're talking about with checking stuff. Like, does this matter to me right now? What matters to me right now?
Yeah, well, some of the things that matter to me right now are really fucking not available, and they're not on the table. But I've tasted a little slice of it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, that's what that feels like, and that's what that looks like, and like now that I've seen it and felt it and been a part of it, I'm like, I don't know where to put that energy or what to do as far as like a certain relationship goes or like a future goes and I've been pretty much single for the past like 5 years or 6 years maybe, just a couple of little girlfriends along the way, but like I haven't really found that like, oh, I'm really happy being alone.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, oh, I want a fucking partner. I want a mate. I want a person that I can fucking go and have fun with in the bush and show my secret spots to and, laugh with and carry on with and stuff like that. I haven't felt like that in fucking half a decade or more.
Mm.
Even when I've had girlfriends, it's like I haven't felt like, that's the person that I want to do these things with.
Mm.
So like that's something that just sits in the back of my mind now of like, oh, that's what that good feeling is. And, I would like to achieve that with someone and share that with someone. And like, it's probably, I don't know if the legs are a fucking really good thing for it, but yeah, that's a little goal of mine. It's none of that stuff's really on the table at the moment, but it's like, I know that as soon as I start ticking goals and, doing all those things, that will show itself wherever it shows itself. So that's cool too. Yeah.
So that's probably a real like, what is life sort of goal, eh? Like, well, what's the point of life type thing is like sharing it with people that matter, eh? And like constantly sharing it with someone that matters is really cool. Like,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've just been a selfish cunt for so long. Like I have. So it's like, yeah.
Here comes selfless Andy.
Yeah, well, I just go and do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I've never really like the people that have like been like, oh, well, I want to do this. I'm like, no, I'm going to do that. Fuck yeah. Like, if you've got a problem with it, it's your problem, you know? Rather than be like, oh, this is a partnership. We're in this together, and I just need to give and take here and there, you know? Like,
No, you're a good dude, Eddie. Right. We've been
Thanks.
talking for 2 hours. We should.
well, no, easy. Yeah, it's just like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll stop the recording anyway. We
Yeah,
can keep chatting.
We'll have to go and get dinner anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, good chats.